Well, bond after bond has gone down in defeat in the Salmon School District. In fact, a bond has failed 7 times. But there is still a way where they could end up with a new school anyway, even against the supermajority's wishes. But the bill still comes with it. I had a conversation with Superintendent Joey Foote and some of the patrons around Salmon.
Clearly continuing to occupy the buildings over time is not an option in their current condition.
The buildings in question are the middle school, built by the Works Progress Administration under President Franklin D. Roosevelt in the 1930s, and the newer elementary school built in the 1960s. The plan would be to merge these 2 buildings with an annex building, the Life Skills Building, and the Child Development Center. $14.2 million later, and 5 buildings become 1 and are now compliant with the Americans with Disabilities Act.
Our school board, the Board of Trustees, and our administration, many members of the community feel like there's an adequate risk.
Superintendent Foote says engineering studies show serious risk to house students in the 2 main buildings. District Maintenance Director Ken Armstrong showed me some of those concerns from top.
The white over the front edge is stuff that we did this summer. Basically what we'd have is chunks that was ready to fall off.
To bottom, where we find a crumbling foundation.
Anytime you start seeing that white stuff.
And everything in between.
Last time I measured the slope in this floor, it was 1.25 inches at that end. This has all happened in the last 3 years.
Really? Yeah. Single pane windows.
And this is the water that we took out of the system. We try flushing the system at least once a week.
Armstrong said this giant crack on the outside happened during an earthquake in 1982. On the inside,
1 1/8 inches is what it's actually shifted.
Remodeling has been suggested as an alternative fix.
Major bucks just to try to patch this little area.
Our board has examined that again, that option of doing some remodeling, and the dollar value for investment dollars into a remodel versus investing in new construction, they just determined was not a good payoff for our community, just not a fiscally responsible move. I think that it falls on the state, again, to provide a safe and inviting and adequate learning environment for our students.
If the state determines that it becomes too dangerous, the state can step in and build a new building. They'll still send the bill to the voters of Salmon School District. It's called the Cooperative Funding Program. It's a state program with $25 million set aside for situations just like this.
And this fund was put into place so that districts who had difficulty passing a public school facilities bond had another mechanism and really to ensure that students around the state are attending school in safe buildings.
It's been utilized before. 3 years ago, the state spent $11 million of that fund to build the new Lakeside Elementary School for the Plummer-Worley School District in the Panhandle.
They too had a divided community. They too ran into some of these very same issues. But what they have now is a safe and inviting facility.
I asked Judy Sherritt, superintendent of the Plummer-Worley School District, how the community has reacted since.
Honestly, I haven't heard a lot of opposition toward gaining a building this way since. I'm sure that there are still people with strong feelings, especially after the tax statements began to come out. But I felt like it's been a really pretty positive thing in our community.
As for Salmon, no one was willing to state their position on camera. We talked with many, both for and against a new school. But we did find this man, Bill Guth. He's lived in Salmon for 51 years and said the people need to know what exactly is going to be built, not just a concept of dollars per foot. What do you think of that idea?
Well, I don't think it's any worse than what we already got. We might get what we want, we might not, but I think we can put some pressure on the state, the community can, to not build an architectural wonder, to build the school we need, not the school that somebody wants.
Salmon's plan has been drawn up by Design West of Meridian. It will go before a 3-person panel headed by the executive director of the State Board of Education, Dr. Mike Rush. That panel can do one of 4 things: approve the Salmon plan, modify it, replace it with its own plan, or reject it altogether. State says nope, reject it. What does Salmon do?
We continue to run a bond.
If necessary, Foote says they would be forced to make basic modifications to the buildings. Yet that would still require a capital construction levy, passing with a 2/3 majority vote, and they've only gotten as high as 48.2% in the past.
The Board of Trustees has been charged as an elected body with acting in the best interest of the children of this community and providing as much of a quality education as they can, given the funding limitations that the state provides us. This is the direction the board has gone, and they have agonized over this.
There are 5 members on that board. 3 have students. 1 is a former teacher. State comes and builds it and then says, here's the bill. How do you deal with that?
I've had to wrestle with that as we've gone through every election cycle. We have to do what we believe, with the data, with the information that we have, is in the best interest of the safety of our students, number 1, the quality of education of our students, number 2, and then we have to act in a fiscally responsible manner. We're using public dollars. We have to act in a fiscally responsible manner with public dollars.
The state panel has 35 calendar days after receiving notification that an application has been submitted to make a finding on that application. The panel then has to notify the applicant within 90 days of receiving it. Superintendent Foote will be in Boise a week from today, making their case. If the state approves it, a construction manager will be appointed to oversee the project, and at its earliest, construction would start in the spring of 2013, with completion set for fall 2014.